Well, good morning. Welcome to Debbie's Back Porch. Glad to see you here again this morning. We're going to make, it's early. I've only had 2 cups of coffee. And I'm going to fix something kind of special for breakfast this morning. And Fred made bacon. It's already cooked. And he's put the grease from the bacon in one of my frying pans. And I'm going to make some potato patties. We had mashed potatoes for supper last night. And we usually make a few extra because we like to have potato patties. And so here is about 2 cups of leftover mashed potatoes right out of the refrigerator. And the measurement on this is not exact. If you have a little bit more or a little bit less, it's okay. Around 2 cups is probably best. I have an egg here that I beat a little bit. And I'm going to put that down in there. And we're going to mix it up a little. Now, my potatoes here were kind of firm. I like firm mashed potatoes, and I don't necessarily like to get all the lumps out of them. I like little chunks of potato in there. So that's how my potato patties are going to be. And you can add different things to these. But I'm going to stick with just mostly onions this morning. Even though a little bit of chopped pepper would, bell pepper, red pepper, whatever you like best, would add a little bit to it. It'd be sort of like potatoes O'Brien. I have here a couple tablespoons full of pretty finely chopped onion. Just mixing these up. This is pretty stiff. As usual, I forgot to get a spoon. Okay, now I have here some self-rising flour, and it's not measured yet because this is going to vary based on how firm or how thin your mashed potatoes are. So I'm going to start out with just a couple tablespoons full. And you can use plain flour. That's self-rising flour. As always, if you're using self-rising flour, the salt is in it. If you use plain flour, you may have to add a little salt. Although our mashed potatoes, of course, were salted when we cooked them. The mashed potatoes had only butter and milk, actually half and half, in them. And the flour is just to make them stick together. Whoops. Just going to make sure that onion's all the way through it. Now these are for breakfast. You can dress these up and make them for dinner. A couple of variations would be to add a little dried rosemary. Oh, that's wonderful, by the way. A little dried rosemary. Serve them with almost any meat. And I think our potatoes might be just a little bit stiff. I'm going to add just a touch of milk. Or maybe I'll just add a touch, half and half. Okay, that's working better. The dogs are barking at a squirrel in the yard. I'm sure that's what it is. Okay, great. Now, once again, I don't know how to tell you exactly what you're aiming for, but you want the consistency of mashed potatoes. We've added an egg and some flour, and so when we cook it, it's going to firm up a little. I'm going to add, that's 1/8 of a teaspoonful measure of dried pepper flakes. Not a lot. I mean, it's breakfast. Okay, there we go. So what we've got is our 2 cups of leftover mashed potatoes, 1 egg. I think we ended up with about 2 tablespoons, maybe 3, of flour. I added about 1 ounce of half and half, just to make them workable. I didn't add any salt because I used self-rising flour. About 2 tablespoons full of onion. That's to taste. That's up to you. So here we go. These are ready to cook. Be right back. A trusty black iron skillet. What's in here is the oil from the grease from where Fred fried bacon or cooked bacon this morning. And I added just a little bit of sunflower oil because I didn't have quite enough. And I'm going to check it. See if it's hot enough. And if you'll see, I've got a good sizzle there. So I'm going to call it hot and start cooking. Have a tablespoon here, stainless steel tablespoon. Dip it in the water. Dip it in the oil. To keep things from sticking. Have here a heaping tablespoon of the potato mixture. Drop it in, pat it down. The reason you dip your spoon into the oil, in case you didn't know, is to keep it from sticking so bad, keep the mixture from sticking so badly to the spoon. I do that with hush puppies too. And we really prefer these to hash browns, but we don't actually have mashed potatoes very often. That's why I said this is kind of a treat. So, a little above medium heat. As with all fried food, we're going to wait until we see it start to brown on the bottom before we turn it. Which usually takes maybe 90 seconds. See how that the egg and the flour makes it stay together nicely. Okay, test it by pushing a little. If it has let go from the pan, that's assuming you're cooking in cast iron. If it's let go from the pan, you can turn it. Whoops. Sometimes when I'm trying to do this on camera, I get things turned at a strange angle and have a little trouble. You can make these also from leftover baked potatoes. Just peel them, add a little bit of milk, and then the egg and the onion and the flour. If I had some fresh peppers out of my garden, I would have chopped up a little pepper in this, but it's January. And I have some dried peppers, but I didn't want to put dried peppers in them. You could, though. Gonna give them one more flip. Not quite done. And usually when I'm frying something like this, I'll tell you watch for the steam because you want to make sure that they're done all the way through. But these are already done. These were mashed potatoes. So I want to leave them really moist inside. I just want them to be hot all the way through. And so you don't have to cook them until they're dry and the steam stops. You just want them to be good and hot all the way through and crispy on the outside. And I think that's what we've got. So you take these out, drain them on a paper towel. And I'm going to finish cooking these up. This will make about 10 from 2 cups. And as I say, you can really vary this. 1 egg can take care of up to 3 cups and with just enough flour to make it firm. I'm going to plate this up. Cook some eggs and plate it up, and then I'll be back. There you go. Egg sunny side up, bacon, and potato patties. Or tater patties. And they are just scrumptious. Soft on the inside, crispy on the outside, and really they have the flavor of twice baked potatoes, especially cooked in bacon grease, but you can cook them in vegetable oil if you'd prefer. These are really just yummy and quite a treat. Hope you try them. Easy peasy way to use up your leftovers. Thank you for joining us on Debbie's Back Porch for breakfast this morning. See you again later today.